Welcome to B2B with Randy and Craig, where we speak to local entrepreneurs and learn about their journey. Welcome to B2B with Randy and Craig, where we discuss the rise, the falls,
and the kick.
Nope, Sunday morning, we're not talking like that.
Everyone's up for Sunday morning.
No, not to hear it. My name is Randy.
I'm Craig from That's a Wrap Productions.
And we have with us today Lisa Ludwig from She Trains You. Lisa, why Firearms?
Wow.
You like
Thanks,
that?
guys. Yeah, I love it.
We sing.
It's like
we do it.
stupid in stereo.
We'll dance for you. We do it all. We do it all.
Love it. Thank you so much for inviting me. I really appreciate this. This is a really great opportunity. I met you a while ago, and I immediately,
She's pointing to me, Randy,
yes,
by the
Randy.
way.
I immediately bonded with you.
We did immediately.
Yeah,
Craig,
so-
I know. He's a quiet taste.
yeah,
I know you know him for 10
no.
minutes. You're not sure
I don't know
yet.
about him.
Yeah, I'm like a ward. I grow on people. Give me some
Give him a
time.
minute. Just give him a little. By the end of the interview, you'll love my promise.
Yeah, no worries.
see.
We're starting the bond. It's all right. It's cool.
The jury's still out.
So let's understand. So you have a unique entrepreneurial story. You have a unique product, I should
Wait,
say.
did she say why?
She didn't answer yet, but I'm going to get us back on track.
Gotcha.
So we asked you why firearms.
So basically, I've always been in the prepper mindset, if that makes sense. Since I was a young girl, I was a young martial artist growing up, and basically 9/11 happened, and everybody was kind of like prepping and like grabbing stuff, and I was like, wow. If someone came in here right now, I could not defend myself to even protect the stuff that I actually had for myself. So I started, basically reached out to a military dude, and he's like,
But you were a martial artist at that point.
I was, and I never touched a firearm ever.
What belt, if you don't mind me asking?
So I've been into a couple of different styles. Taekwondo when I was a child, which is like, they call that the marijuana of martial arts.
Everybody,
kind of
right?
gets you into the gateway.
Right.
And then I went into like Kempo, Jiu-Jitsu, and Ninjutsu.
Sounds like you could probably protect yourself from someone.
Yeah, I don't think
can
you
tell
need
you
to
if both of us walked in the wrong
I'm
view,
going the
we'd
other
be dead.
way.
We'd be dead. But anyway, so you were talking
So
about...
you needed a gun on top of all that.
Yeah, she's got some nice stuff, I think.
Lethal hands was just
She
not
must have
enough.
some
Yeah,
really
100%.
incredible stuff in that.
I took a hiatus for a while, and then I went back to jiu-jitsu not that long ago. But then I wound up having to drop out again because I realized I wasn't really strong enough to kind of hang with them. So I have to went back to the gym and kind of try to build myself again. So why firearms? Basically, I bought a new home, and then there was a really almost violent break-in through a video that was called Neighbors through the Ring app.
Right, I know people scared the crap out of you with that.
I tell you, and it was somebody near me, so that was even more scary.
Oh,
so
wow.
what happened was, it was a lady running into our house. She locked the door, and then 2 seconds later was an armed intruder with a mask over his face and a 9mm in his hand. And he came up to the door, and he was donkey kicking the door trying to get in. Thank God the door didn't open. So when I was approaching the neighborhood watch group that I was trying to help in my town, basically I was like, we got to really work with firearms, because what would that lady have done if that door would have swung open? Would she have been able to protect herself? She's going to throw a book at him? She's going to stab him?
Yeah, what the heck would she have
What
done?
are you going to do? And when that guy ran away, by the way, there was a second guy. So it was actually 2 armed intruders.
my
I was
God.
like freaking out. So anyway,
No.
I got up off the couch and I got myself trained, because nobody really wanted to deal with firearms. And I went to the Long Island Women's Firearm Club.
This is falling on
They really did. That went really low. Whoa, it was on my belly button.
We were all going to go onto the floor and talk to you.
I was like, what's going on here? Anyway, so after that, I started the Long Island Women's Firearm Club, which is an all-female gun club. We have 2 chapters currently, Eastern chapter and a Western chapter, and we have about 100 women, full female staff. And so what came of that was She Trains You, because men wanted to train with me, and I couldn't put them in my gun club, so I was like, I got to come up with something else.
So we have the 2 gun clubs, and then you have the training, which is She Trains You.
Yep.
And male, female, doesn't matter. Can be trained.
Yeah, groups. Anybody, doesn't matter, yeah.
Private lessons.
Right. So basically, I've been doing this for 7 years professionally, almost 8. And this concealed carry that just came out about 2 years ago was basically a blessing for any NRA instructor that wanted to teach. So I already had a nice established book of customers.
Nice.
So my spiel was that I can go to your home at your convenience or your business, your garage, your basement. I've been in
teach
some
you
pretty
how to
sketchy
hold the
places.
weapon. Right.
Right. So it doesn't backfire.
I've been in an
You don't shoot
embroidery
yourself.
place, as you know, in an embroidery place.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Sometimes you're in a place of business, you don't even know it's a
I don't
place
even
of
know
business.
what it is.
That's what we learned about you.
no
Right.
doubt, you know. So I go wherever, I don't care,
right.
and you know, you buy, I fly, and I come to your house and I do the training at your house at your convenience. So instead of going into a classroom,
How long you been in business?
7 years, almost 8.
So, which I love. Prior
Thanks.
to that, were you working for somebody? Were you?
I was an engineer prior to this. I did that for probably about 5 years. I was a sales engineer. So I was
Got it.
basically dealing with like compressed air and
Very
moving
exciting.
of
Sounds
steam
very
and all that
exciting.
stuff. Basically going to and from the 5 boroughs a lot, which really wasn't my favorite.
Right.
So once I kind of got into this, when the pandemic kind of happened, it really like took off from there because it got crazy.
So when you're training people, was there a specific gun that you use, and are people shooting with just blanks?
Firearm.
Yeah.
So it's not like Oprah and you get a Glock 19 and you get a Glock 19. It don't work like that. It don't work like that. So it's very much like almost fingerprint specific in terms of like how long is your finger? Can it actually reach the trigger? Can you pull the trigger? Can you see the
Are you
sights?
asking him? Because the answer is no.
I have a paintball gun,
Now
but
I
that's
know.
about the extent of it.
Mentally noted. No.
Right.
But you know, can you see the sight? So it depends on the person.
Wow.
And usually my students, I go with them to any gun store to help size them for the guns because
So
the
you might be
salesperson's
getting
not going to do
somebody
that.
who's just starting a journey, their first firearm,
Yeah.
and just come to me. I know nothing.
Yep.
And you're going to help them get this, the right.
I do the whole 9 yards.
Wow.
Yeah, I
Wow.
get them the belt, the holster pull, the dry fire sessions, dry fires without ammunition, just learning how to like rack the gun and like learn how to actually. I feel like this thing is falling every second.
No, now it's up there. It's
Okay,
up there.
good.
Pretty good. So what's a typical session? Is a session a minimum of 5 lessons, 3 lessons, 2 lessons?
It's whatever the person really wants. I mean, I have someone that's been working with me for 3 years straight, like almost monthly. I have someone that works
Don't
with me
let that
for.
person cover you. If that person's the driver.
Yeah.
exactly.
I have people that work with me for a couple of months and then they stop. It kind of like depends on the itch. It also depends on the political wave of what's going on.
Right.
Like when it gets really politically crazy, my phone just literally is nonstop. And then if it chills out, you know, I chill out a little bit.
So wait, great segue. How does somebody get a hold of you
Yeah.
if they want to learn how to use a firearm?
So you can get me at my website, which is shetrainsyou.com. You can call me on my cell phone, 516-749-8650.
One more time. Say the phone number one more time.
516-749-8650. That's my cell. You can text it. I will respond. Obviously, if I'm in a class, I can't respond right away, but
Right.
I'll get back to you within 24 hours for sure.
So, what do you find the most common answer to why I want to get a gun is? Is it more for because I'm being bullied? Is it because I'm being scared, or because I just want to feel good for myself and you know whatnot?
That's a good question. It really depends on if it's really political at the time, it's going to be, oh, I'm scared of what's going to happen. Or if it's not that time, it's going to be, oh, I have like a crazy ex, or I have a crazy neighbor. I have a friend that was crazy. I mean, even one of my clients, she said one of her friends came over to her house and she had a gun, a loaded gun.
Right.
And she's waving it all over the place. And my client is like, listen, you need a lesson. Like, I'm going to give you my instructor's stuff because what you're doing is crazy and it's very ignorant, you know? So
How much did the desire to learn how to, you know, protect yourself, I should say, over the last, I want to say 6 years or 8 years?
It's definitely gone up and up, hand over hand. I would say the biggest demographic of learning how to shoot is a female.
Females.
I would say it's about 60% of the new buyer on the market is a female. But funny story, I have a lot of men that hire me. I don't really have that many women that hire me because women take a while to like, they literally stalk me for like 2 years before they actually
reach out.
hire me. Yeah. And they know my whole story, which is like the craziest thing. Like, I know you did this. I know you like this. They'll be like, oh, you were on WBAB. You know,
Right.
like they
They know
know,
the whole thing.
you know? And it's like, it blows my mind that they took that long to actually call me because, you know, they're scared.
I
you know?
want to ask you about the entrepreneurial side of it.
Yeah.
So what I always say as an entrepreneur, you know, there's a problem, we find a solution, right? So here you are, you have a career, you're working, the pandemic, you had to be innovative. Many people did at the time. You found something very unique, but tell me about the entrepreneurial journey of it. So here you are in a new spot. a sense of accomplishment. For example, you know what I mean? Like I could say when you were in sales, you could say every time I closed a deal.
Yeah.
That was the sense of accomplishment. Where do you get a sense of accomplishment now as an entrepreneur who's
course.
teaching somebody a new skill?
Of course. It's usually the stories that I get. Like, I'm going to give you an example. My VP, who's a 75-year-old little Puerto Rican lady. She's the coolest lady on this earth. She's got the spiciest flavor have you ever seen.
Love it. We'll have her on next.
Yeah, I'm telling you, you love her. And if you want to do we want to do a reality show,
We'll have
it's going to be with this lady.
It sounds like you're pulling out the
She's
shots.
amazing. I'm telling you. And so anyway, I met her when she was 70. And her story was when I first met her, she had a really big pit bull, a huge one. And, you know, a couple of months ago, the dog actually passed away. And she was like devastated. And so I said to her, you going to go get another pit bull? And she was like, I don't really know yet. I said, why? I said, you love pit bulls. She goes, you know what? I'm the pit bull now. And I was like, wow.
Yeah,
and I was
there
like,
you go.
chills up my body. I was like, that's why I do what I do. I said, so
You're
stories
also,
like
you're
that.
empowering people.
Yes, and
You're
that's
empowering.
that's my present.
That's what
Gets me going.
I love it.
And that
I love it.
I'm making my community safe. That's what I get.
So
Yeah.
if someone was going to, I guess, debate whether they wanted to use a gun or a taser, where do you shift? Like, a taser's not enough for you.
Right.
You need a gun.
So it really depends on the situation. It's a very gray area. Basically, your life needs to be in imminent danger in order to use your firearm in self-defense, specifically here in New York.
Right.
So if it's not in imminent danger, you cannot use firearm. And it's all supposed to be equal force, too. Like, if someone walks up to you with, like, fists, you can't put a gun to a fist. It just doesn't work like that. It's
Right.
equal force. This is why I learned how to fight, because you know what? Sometimes the gun is not always the answer. And I can tell you, most times, the gun is the last option.
Right,
It's not the
right.
first. My first option is my pepper spray in my pocket.
I get that.
And I'll
makes sense.
pepper spray the shit out of you. No offense. Sorry. Oops.
We'll beat that right out. Don't worry.
Sorry.
Don't worry about it. But I get that. The
I'd
last
rather
thing you
do
want to do is
that.
take out your handgun.
100%.
But the fact that you know how to use it. Let me ask you again. I'm going to go back to your journey for a second.
If
Do
I can cut you off, we are sitting here, if you're just listening now to WBAB.
Can you believe this guy?
We are sitting here with the infamous Lisa Ludwig, who is, she trains you. Go on. You can also get this on
Don't ever interrupt me.
Spotify,
It's called The show is
iHeartRadio.
B2B with Randy and Craig. Remember that. Right, Lisa?
100%. 100%.
So is this a business that you can scale? And what I mean by that, I'm sure you have vetted other people to train because you're in high demand. But you think you can scale this, or maybe you already have across different state lines? You see that happening?
I've been actually offered a couple of different, like, to franchise, like, my women's club, basically, where I would have, like, a Florida women's club or, like, a Tennessee women's club, something like that. But it's tough because, unfortunately, not everybody's me. And I hate to say that, but the way I train is different than everybody. And when you train with me, you know it, like, right off the bat. You're like, this girl knows what she's doing. And it's undeniable.
What you're stating right now is not uncommon for any entrepreneur. And any entrepreneur, and no disrespect, whether I'm learning how to shoot a firearm,
Right.
Or learning how to shoot video.
Yeah.
or shooting video, no one's going to do it the way I do it.
Exactly.
And they won't.
Yeah.
But if you can get people, at 90%,
Yeah.
that allows you to now run your business,
Oh,
not be
100%.
in the business.
Right.
So you'd be surprised because I agree. I mean, you got the right everything. I mean, you just make people comfortable right away.
Oh, thanks.
You're passionate about what you do, and you're in the right spot. And the name, She Trains You, it kind of right away. You're saying how so many men are your customers.
Yeah.
I think because you don't feel intimidated.
No.
That's 100% exactly why people hire me. Because the people that are hiring me are not the ones that are looking for tact-to-ted to train them. Those are the
Bingo.
guys that are
Got
getting
it.
scared of those guys. And they don't even realize it's the funniest thing. Like, my competitors are scaring people on their websites because they're so
big, bulky
tact-to-ted.
guys.
Right.
Right.
And it's intimidating. And then
Right.
they see mine and they're like, wow,
Oh,
a normal
yeah, I would
That I
take
feel
it.
person.
regular. I feel like I
Right.
could
Yeah.
I could
Right.
ask her a question and
Exactly.
not feel like a jerk.
Intimidated, right.
Right.
It's the same thing. You know what I picture it like? I picture going to the gym. Walking over to the free weights is very intimidating when you got the gym rats there.
It's true.
And, but you realize once you're there,
Not so bad.
not so bad.
No, and
No.
they're nice and they'll help you and stuff, which
Right,
is even cooler.
but to get there.
Right.
But I love that you've created this easy, comfortable way. and now the gun laws make it so you can come to my house
Right.
and show me how to hold the weapon. Then you'll take me to the gun shop, make sure I'm buying the proper firearm, and fire safety, I guess, is
100%. It's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Number one.
100%. Yeah, and the problem is with the gun stores, they're going to sell you anything they want to sell you. They're
Sure.
like, oh yeah, like I even had the other day I was with a guy sizing a gun for him, and I was like, can I see the P365 XL? And the guy's like, he doesn't need that one. That's too big for him. I'm like, listen, dude, please let me see it. This is why I'm here. And he's like, fine. He like walked away. So then he wanted to size the regular P365, which actually has a shorter grip. And I said, it didn't even fit his hand. And I'm like, see? I'm like, I know more than you, and I don't even do this for a living.
Right.
Like,
And Craig is always talking about he wants a P6950.
Yeah.
But that's a whole different conversation for another
Definitely.
time on there.
Definitely. I think that's another show.
Not a bazooka. No.
That's a whole different thing.
But anyway.
So Randy always generally has $1 million question, and lately I've been kind of
been
stealing. I've been stealing it every week, right?
Oh,
So
boy.
I'm going to do it again.
Okay.
Right. At home, you have a pistol or gun of sorts. Does that pistol or gun have a name? And if so, what is it?
Wow.
It's not bad. I don't think she's going to share the name.
Yeah, that's kind of funny. I actually don't name any of my guns. I
Really?
really
You're a
don't.
lunatic.
I don't know. I'm not that type of girl.
So
I don't
Lisa,
know.
let me tell you how this came up.
I call them their model numbers.
As we've witnessed.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you why he's saying that real quick. So we had on
Yeah.
our show, we had owners of Adventureland. And, you know, she's telling us stories, Janina, about Adventureland. And I'm thinking to myself, as she's talking, all I hear is, you grew up owning an amusement park.
How
so
cool.
I said to her, my $1 million question was,
Do you go when
do you go when the park is closed? I mean, do you go in all the rides
that's so
nonstop? And I thought that, so
She says no.
that's your $1 million question. So ever since then, he steals the $1 million. That's a bit.
What did she say? I'm now curious.
No.
No.
I had a feeling no.
No.
She does it all day. Why does she want to do it at night?
No, you
No.
want to do it at night. I don't know.
Because you don't own it.
Because I don't know.
I'm the kind of person-
When I was in the candy business, people say, "Don't you eat all the candy?" I was like, "I
No,
can't stand the candy."
exactly.
So I get it. Yes, all this water, nothing to drink, as they say.
I think that's nonsense. If I owned a theme park, I would be hosting parties every weekend.
Well, you're a different character.
Yes, I'm a different character.
No,
You definitely
that
are.
doesn't count. Whatever that is, we know. We
You're
know
an
what you would do.
anomaly. You're your own.
So,
for
Lisa,
sure.
so what would you give? What advice would you give out? And let me back up and tell you where I'm going. So you were in a career, you're making a living, you had a sense of accomplishment, something changed. Now, hopefully that never happens again. Hopefully we never have a pandemic again. But what advice would you give somebody who might be listening right now, laying in bed saying, I am not happy at my job as customer service. I want to be a hairstylist, but I'm already 10 years in the workplace.
How do I?
Yeah,
How do you do that? That's a really great question. And any entrepreneur will tell you that it's a day at a time and you have to put in every day. You can't just like expect things to come to you. It doesn't work like that. You got to put the work in. I travel train all the time, 5-6 times a year. I'm out in the sweat with the heat and the bugs that bite, all in these southern countries, southern states.
Southern countries. It is southern countries.
Basically. And I stick out like a sore thumb because I'm like the only New Yorker that's like, what I look like. You guys already know.
Well, they know too. You're on the podcast.
Oh, there you go. So I stick out like a sore thumb.
You look
and,
great.
they can even tell when I walk by. They're like, that's Lisa. Like, as soon as I walk by, I'm like, anyway. But I train all the time, and I put my money where my mouth is. Where a lot of these instructors, like, they don't do that. They just kind of, I'm an NRA instructor. That doesn't mean anything. That doesn't really mean anything. You have to put into your skill.
Continuously build your brand.
Yes.
You have to be better.
Yes, and the more that you build your brand, the more that you get knowledge, the more that when you work with a student, they see it immediately because you can't fake that.
Right.
There's some things when you can say you can fake it till you make it, but there's some things that you can't.
No.
You have to put the work in. You have to put money towards it. You have to just blood, sweat, and tears. And I tell you, in the beginning, I was struggling. I was making like $30 for like an hour, and I was like so excited about it. Meanwhile, I was like an engineer making massive money.
But isn't it funny how that works in your head?
Yeah, because I was doing what I loved. It wasn't like, so I wasn't clock watching anymore. So it was a total different aspect where before I was like, am I done with this shit? I want to get home. Sorry.
But the funny, we'll beat that too. But the funny thing is, you had that $30 in your pocket, but that $30 was worth $3,000 because the sense of accomplishment
100%.
that you got when you got in the car, the client called you, they enjoyed you, and maybe they booked you again. And that's how you build your business. I mean, that's how you build your book of business. I'm going to say something else. You had mentioned earlier that one of the concerns you had was, as you scale, I'm the best teacher. And I said, yes, but we can teach. What you can't teach is what you just said, fire in the belly. That you cannot teach.
That's true.
If somebody doesn't have fire in the belly,
No.
You got to show up.
you got to show up. You got to be excited.
100%.
Yes.
And also, the biggest claim to my fame was in the beginning. I gave a lot of free information. Like, I would stay on the phone for hours with these people. And it's funny because one day you're the crazy person that preps, and then the next day you're the expert. And it's kind of funny how that worked. And then everybody was like, help me. Where do I get a firearm? Where do I get ammo? And all of a sudden, I was the one helping everybody. And it just literally just drove me up.
And you know what's
I
interesting?
never asked for a dollar.
You
Never asked for a dollar.
Never.
And it just came back to me in dividends.
Karma.
100%.
Karma, because you
feel-
did it for a different reason.
I did it because I was concerned for my community, and I didn't care about making money. Although I needed to make money.
You had to make money.
Of course,
And
everybody's got to eat.
the money will come.
Everybody's got to eat.
Well, they always say an entrepreneur mostly is not doing it for the money.
Right.
The money comes.
Right.
You're doing it for whatever problem you're solving, whatever solution. This is
Yep.
where our heads work.
That's right. So that's the key. So if you got the grit to do it, and you actually show up to do it, and you give information and don't expect a dollar, that's going to just get you to blow up.
But you also got to be careful as an expert, because you went from being a loon to
Right.
an expert
100%,
overnight.
100%.
All it took was a pandemic.
That's it. It's kinda funny how that
So
works.
now you're not a loon. Now
Right.
you're the expert. So you walk this fine line between giving away free advice and being a salesperson.
Right.
Because you could give away enough advice where all of a sudden your
You don't- not
services
needed.
Right. Are not needed anymore.
That's a whole different
very fine line
conversation.
to have to walk.
Lisa, tell us again how somebody can get a hold of you, whether they have a firearm now and they want to improve their skills. They're thinking, I want a firearm in the house and I want to know how to do it safely,
Right.
securely,
Yep.
and I want to get the right weapon because I have no idea. How does any of those people, and if I left any demographic out, throw it in,
of course.
get a hold of you?
Yeah, I do the concealed carry in your home. So if you guys, you don't want to go to a class where it's a sterile environment with 40 people, that's what
Will
I
you
do.
take your shoes off?
Of course,
All right.
I actually show pictures on my website of me with like booties on and stuff. That people have
that's
given me.
fantastic.
So
pretty funny.
when you decided you want shoes, how do I get you?
So shetrainsyou.com, or you can call my cell again, 516-749-8650. You can go onto any social media platform. She Trains You. I'm on it. You could look me up.
And you have great reviews.
I have over almost 200 5-star reviews on Google.
That's
and
incredible.
If you read my reviews, they are actually amazing because they really are real people that have felt really intimidated. And you can see in my reviews that, really made them calm and relaxed and able to learn in their environment, not next to somebody that they don't know and having
it's
some guy.
It's a no judgment. There's
Right,
no
like
judgment.
some guy breathing down your neck, like, oh, you're not doing it right.
Like this
you know,
guy breathing down my neck.
Yeah,
This-
exactly.
breathing down my neck this whole afternoon.
But it's when you already have something crazy in your hands, you don't want someone breathing down your neck going
Yeah,
it's already
right.
crazy as it is.
and you really don't. It's really important that you're comfortable.
100%.
I would think it's really
100%.
important.
And
All right, so we're
yeah.
going to run out of time,
Yeah, no
Lisa.
worries.
we
Thank you.
could talk to you, but I think you talked me in that I'm going to get a lesson. I really think
Yay.
that. By the way, I love your logo.
Thank you.
And you look at the camera.
I actually have my, it's a tattoo too.
That's
And she's
awesome.
And I have my women's
I love
club.
it. All right,
Talking.
Craig.
So from B to B with Randy and Craig, that's a wrap.
Thank you for tuning in to B2B with Randy and Craig. Looking forward to hanging with you next week.